It's not a question that you ask casually. Hmm? Who am I? It's not a casual question. It's not an intellectual mental game.
It's the say I am. Then I'm saying I am. Inner thinking I am. Then this rotation slows down and my attention goes back to that understanding I am.
I am is a thought.
But at least it's a one, so instead of
Yes, but if you put attention to that thought, means you don't put attention to any other thought. They can be, you cannot have two thoughts in your mind at the same time. So that phenomenon there, physical experience there, is produced by a thought. If you change for another thought, that thought disappears. And the phenomenon that is producing in the body, or whatever phenomenon is producing, disappears. It cannot stay. I pay attention to the thought I am, or I pay attention to the feeling I am. As soon as my attention goes from whatever it was there, or it is there, to the thought I am, or to the feeling I am, all that disappears, dissolves. So this poor body can have a rest, see, from thought. It's tortured by thought. You don't need to close your eyes. If you close your eyes, your mind will play tricks. It's your natural state. It's natural to be free from thoughts. Thoughtless state still is a mental state. It's that mental state, right, that allows you to know what is beyond any mental state. The thought disappears, thought comes to an end, inquiry comes to an end. No more effort is required. To hold it doesn't mean to hold it is to remove whatever is attached to I am. I am feeling like this. I am, whatever is attached to the I am, just throw it out. Don't pay attention to what is attached to the I am, or to the I am. Right? That is so-called effort or practice or sadhana to bring the attention from thoughts to thinker. Then the thinker will be free from thoughts effortlessly. Another thought arises, inquiry takes place again. This is to hold on to the I am, not to try to remove what is attached to it. That's all. Or the attention goes to thought, right? So there is thought and there is attention. You bring the attention back to the attention itself. Thought disappears. And there is just attention, right? To nothing. To nothing mentally. Physically, the senses are operating, right? But activity will go on automatically. And if you need something practical, you see, from your mind, it will come to your rescue. Otherwise, anything else is control, repression, suppression. It produces the opposite effect. It strengthens the mind. Sí, para eso es incómodo. Who is having the experience? Who is having the experience again? I. The attention goes to I.
Right, I put for access, there's gonna be broken up and we give it to him.
Mhm. Like one finger, sometimes he can do, he can wash his mouth, right? And then wash it out with water. Uncomfortable still, but ¿mm? Ya no duele. No, se caen solitos.
No se caen, desaparece.
Mm, yo creo que sí, tengo que preguntar a la doctora.
Those pictures were pictures of them.
Mm,
any question I would like to ask you.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter at all.
Sorry?
It doesn't matter at all. It's
No,
not practical.
it does matter.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not practical. If I would ask you, do you heard something about the Jacques Fresco?
If I know something about Jacques Fresco,
Yeah, have you heard about it? He already passed away.
yeah, I heard about it.
His ideas. What do you think about it?
I don't think about it.
Well, okay, what would you say? Something? Could you say something about it?
That's mental curiosity.
That's what I'm saying.
Should be avoided.
I told you it's a silly question.
If you don't mention this man, I wouldn't even remember that he exists. I know who is he, and I'm familiarized with it, but
Familiarized.
yes, yes.
What does it mean?
But I know him. I read his stuff.
So videos.
Yeah. People send me stuff for me to read, right? Or to watch. The whole point is to know who you are. Someone else. And you can ask any question, no problem, right? If the question is relevant to the subject and it's makes sense, I may address the question.
You see the silliness,
Mhm.
what I'm saying.
That's okay. If you can see it is silly, it's fine. Silly is a description of a fact, right? Now, if you think it is good or bad, see, when the judgment kick, this is what you have to avoid, the judgment.
You try to get rid of it, yeah, just see.
If you notice it, it disappears. If you notice the mind, which is the question and the questioner, it stops. It is not, we are not concerned about the quantity or the quality of the thought. We are concerned about its source. If we find the source, we find ourselves. And what I mean by we find ourselves is to become aware that it was never lost. The one was and is always that. Not even was, is always that.
Just game.
Hmm?
Just the mind is playing a game.
Let it play the game. It will play a game. You have to understand that. Nothing wrong with that.
No, not playing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to play. See, I don't want.
It's
I
exhausting.
don't, you are thinking about the thought now. So that's what you have to avoid, right? If you think about the thought, you already gave reality to the thought, right? And you're doing what the thought wants. Just see from where it arose, or to whom it pertains, to whom it is happening, the thought. And the attention goes back to the source. And the thought disappears. Again and again and again until the body identity disappears completely. Simple, it's a shift of attention. That's it. From thoughts to their source. That weakens the mind.
So, who is thinking this way?
Exactly. There must be either a thinker or a source, a place of origin. Thought arose from somewhere.
Hmm.
From where? From me.
Yeah.
Then who am I? See? The interest goes to I, the source of the thought. So it is removed from the thought, and the thought merges back into its source. Harry, Shannon, how are you?
Hi, Cesar.
I see. There you going.
Good to see you.
See you too, guys.
Just as you're talking, last or yesterday, for some reason, I had it's a lot of pain was coming up, and a lot of thoughts were rushing through my mind. And I would bring myself back to the moment, like not follow the thoughts. But the pain was still quite overwhelming. So it seemed like I was just enduring the pain.
Physical pain or emotional pain?
Emotional pain.
If the thought is gone, the emotion is gone. If the thought is removed from the body, the pain is gone.
But then I kind of, rather than just enduring it, I welcomed the pain, like welcomed or was open to whatever was there. And it disappeared. Like it seemed like it just flowed through and it wasn't hindered in any way. So I think it's like I'm not following the thoughts, but at the same time, there's still some kind of resistance. Whereas if I have the attitude of welcoming whatever's there,
It will come back again.
sorry?
It will come back again because the one that welcomes the thought is a thought.
No, not the thought, but the pain, like the emotional pain.
No, you can separate the pain from the thought that produces it. One that welcomes it, rejects it, is the one that produces it. It produces it and welcomes it.
Okay.
Or it produces it and resists it. If you welcome it, you give reality to it. It is there.
Okay.
I welcome it. And the thought I still is there.
Right.
So what do you do?
It just seemed like prior to me welcoming it or being open to it, there was a resistance. And that was incorrect, so to speak.
See, I will stick to Ramana's advice. You let the thought arise, but then you have to inquire from where it arose.
Yeah.
In the inquiry, the thought I is present, right?
Sure.
In the question, who am I? The thought I is present, right? When the question, who am I, comes to an end, right?
Yeah.
The I comes to an end.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay there.
Yeah.
As an
There
entity,
just seemed to be
as an entity or a self that welcomes this or rejects that.
right. It just seemed to be like an unconscious resistance to it. So rather than having that there, I was open to what was happening rather than unconsciously resisting.
But that is a thought. I was opening. See? There
Yeah.
was I that was opening to it, and that I is an individual self, apparently.
Sure.
Because who welcome it? I, Terry.
Yeah.
If you ask who am I, you question the reality of the phenomenon and the reality of the experiencer. You question your identity with the body. A very subtle difference there.
Yeah.
This is a new, this is in fashion now, right? Welcoming, allowing, see?
Right.
And the mind says, oh, fantastic, I bring more. I mean, not to finish it. See, it will come back again. And wait until you are in the same situation and you will see that it will come back again. If the I is there, it will bring it back again.
Right.
You may not get to the question, who am I? Right? You may just see from when the thought arises, right?
Mhm.
So the thought disappears, and the seer of the thought also disappears. Right? So you still are dealing with the physical condition and the mental condition, and not the root of all that.
Right.
We have to uproot the mind. Now, if you send the mind back to its source, right? The thinker, it brings all the thought, and then it begins to dissolve.
Okay.
It's very
So
rare. It's very rare that the mind will merge in this in the self and disappear. Meaning by that, to lose its sense of separateness, right?
Mhm.
The mind remains just as a mere sense of self, right? With no identity. The knowledge I am remains until the body remains. But the idea I am this and that, like this or like that, is thought. See, I am this and that, I am like this or like that, it will no longer arise. See, the I thought will not arise. And as long as this I am remains single, right? Not attached to anything, then it doesn't cover that which is beyond the I am or the I. It's knowledge, right? It's the knowledge of being. It's knowledge. If it is knowledge, there must be the knower. See, and this knower of this knowledge is the absolute knower, the absolute witness. This is called
Can there
knowledge.
be
This is called knowledge of existence. Many people get stuck in identity with the knowledge and not with the one that knows that is, which is the witness.
right? Sure.
This is a reflection of the witness, where the witness, right, becomes self-aware. In deep sleep, it is present, but it is not self-aware. Self-realization is also called self-awareness, right?
Uh-huh.
Self-awareness, not awareness of a self, right? Which implies a subject and the self as an object
As
of
you
experience of an individual realizing the self.
sure.
So even when the witness realizes itself, it doesn't say, I realize myself. Though that self-recognition gets reflected, right, in the mind as I am that.
Right.
So instead of I am this, right? This, and this is like this and like that. See, I am that. That thought also eventually disappears. You don't think anymore you are that. You remain as that.
Sure. Can there be some unconscious resistance still that occurs?
There may be something is there still. See, something stick to the cooking pot. See? Maybe a tiny little seed. You can't even. The thing is that you never know because it is in an unconscious state. You cannot know it until it arises.
Sure.
So you will never know until it never comes back again. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Even if the thought, even if the body identity, okay, is temporarily absent, right? If there is some residual there, some residual tendencies, right? Preconceived ideas, desires, whatever it is, it will bounce back. And the tendency is inseparable from the tendency to identify yourself with the body. See? Make sense?
Yeah.
Indirect paths are good for some time.
Sorry, what was that?
The indirect path, dealing with the content, right?
Sure.
With the patterns. That's okay for some time. And some people find it difficult, if not impossible, to send the mind back to its source because there's too much stuff, right? And you know what makes it more difficult? The spiritual stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know.
The so-called good tendencies. And they're more difficult to detach oneself from than the bad tendencies. Because the bad tendencies, I realize, well, I am bad, I make a mistake, well, that's terrible. And out of awareness of that, that's it, it's over, right? And then you're no longer a sinner, but then you turn into something else, right? And then the identity with the goodness, see, is worse than the identity with the evilness.
Yeah, sure.
And the pride, okay, with the goodness is more difficult to subdue than the pride from the evilness, right?
Right.
Because I like my new identity because it's good.
Yeah.
And charity work and I do pilgrimages and I open ashrams and help the sadhus and the gurus and feed the hunger and all that stuff, right? You can lose your ego sense, right? It's like this tendency, this remains, right? But without identity with it. See, the mind that basically operates is that mind, right?
Right.
But with identity, okay, it creates a spiritual ego, the pride, right? Because there is a doer of goodness, right? If there is no ego, there is goodness, but there is no doer of goodness.
Yeah, sure.
The pure mind is what leads to no mind. See? But the good mind merges in the sattva guna, see? Merges into sat. Are you following?
Yeah.
In fact, behind the good mind, it is so-called no mind, which is a pseudo witness, right? The good mind
Yeah,
is suspended. There is no mind. The mind is completely still. It's not moving in any way, neither in a selfish way, unselfish way, and it's not dull neither. Right? This is, I don't know how to call it pure mind, but it's like it's just light.
right.
The mind is a reflected light of the self, illumining the body, meaning by that the brain, right?
Mhm.
And then through the senses, the world, right? So consciousness can be aware of its own manifestation.
Okay.
If the light is off, consciousness can't see a thing, right? Like in deep sleep. This is what happened. That light withdraws from the brain and goes back to its source, which is beyond light and darkness. See? But that's the first thing that shows up, right? In fact, you may be lucky to see that light, right? When it reaches the brain, and then the I amness comes. See? But who is knowing that is, right? Switch on the light, right? And illumines the body, illumines the mirror, right? And when the light is on, then the body is standing in front of the mirror, it projects itself, right? And the image appears in the mirror, right?
Mhm.
And there's no difference between the two, the reflection and the body reflecting it. The difference is one is illusory and the other one is real, right? The one is a reflection. Right? By the reflection, the one that's standing in front of it knows itself. Switch off the light, it doesn't know itself, and yet it is present.
Uh-huh.
Aware of nothing, and not self-aware. It doesn't cease to exist. The mirror disappears. The reflection disappears. The light disappears. Deep sleep, total darkness. But there must be something there, right?
Yeah.
Witnessing total darkness, right? Obviously, it is I, because when I speak about the three states, right? If I speak about the three states, then I must be the witness of the three states, right? But the witness will never know itself, see, but by its reflection, right? It's like I will never know my eyes, see, by the means of my eyes, right?
Yeah, sure.
I want to see my eye. I have to place a mirror in front of them, right? Break the mirror, the reflection goes back to its source. In the awakened state, the reflection goes back to the source, right?
Uh-huh.
It does not disappear in the awakened state. And then you can see that the mirror, the reflection, and the body in front of them, right, are not three, but one. Understand?
Yeah.
Some people call that mere knowledge of being mind. And when it gets identified with the body, it's called ego, right? Some people call it consciousness. And when it gets identified with the body, it's called mind. And beyond that, they call it, see, it doesn't matter. See, people use the same concepts, perhaps, in a different context. As long as you understand what I'm saying, you can reflect that within your own perception, right? Or your own experience. That's enough.
It seems okay in this situation because there's not much happening. Like there's no stress or I'm not needing to do anything.
See, when this I amness remains alone, there is no subject and object.
Mhm.
Hmm. Good. If there is identity with the body, then I am the subject, right? And there is an object, and that object is stressing me out. That is either bothering me or making me feel happy. See? And all that is thought. Right? Together with the thought, I am the body. See? Object and the object. See, the experiencer separate from the experience, thinking that the object is the cause of pleasure, pain, happiness, unhappiness, love and hate, and this and that. Right?
Right.
But I am the body, and then the subject and the object merge into one. Means physical phenomenon, the gross body, and the subtle body, the seer, which is in this case is no longer a seer, but kind of a seeing, right? Merge into one. They are already one. See?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
It says mind appears, world appears, right? The mind identifies itself as a body, right? That is to say, there is the belief that the image in the mirror is the mirror.
Mm.
And that illusion is imposed, see, superimposed on one's own self. It is silly, no? It's not even, it's, it's reflected in the mirror, but it's not the mirror.
Yeah, sure.
Then you have the gross body, right? And you have the subtle body, right?
Uh-huh.
And some kind of an ignorance, some kind of a something there, which is the causal body. And then you have beyond all that, the absolute witness of all what I just mentioned. See? If the ego is not there, all that is realized to be one and the same, right? And then the idea of witnessing also disappears.
Right.
If consciousness is the witness, and all that is consciousness, then who is witnessing what?
Yeah, sure.
That is self-realization. The realization that the self alone is. Because even witnessing implies two, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's called Turiyatit, right? You are familiarized with terms. If you are not familiarized, then forget what I said. Beyond witnessing.
Sure.
That means the idea of witnessing, right? That there is, see, witnessing, and what witnessing is witnessing. The mind plays witness sometimes. I am one with everything, see? Or
Yeah.
everything is within me. See, there is I and me. From the absolute point of view, there is no absolute and this. See? The absolute. Being this, it alone is. Am I using English properly?
Yeah.
I'm cool. Yeah, now it's going to knock you down and you're going to let it. Yeah. The mind becomes the boss and you say, yes, sir, I will. See? So the activity of that body, the action of that body is conditioned by something. Yes or no? Yes. You will find yourself, okay, being more diligent. Sorry, Terry. Right? You will notice it, and then you will learn the inquiry. Who is feeling like this? Who wants to do this? Right? And the desire, right, collapses. And the body is no longer conditioned by that thought. Right? Until the next movement. That requires effort. See? The so-called effort, called inquiry, see, destroys that effort. And then effortlessness is left. This is why somebody have to check. Exactly. until you can do it by yourself. And somebody has to place a mirror. Look. You have to mirror your inner state, mental state. When you see it, then I see it. Right? And then I is not it. And then it collapses. Temporarily.
Everyone, like nighttime,
Sorry?
nighttime,
Nighttime what?
I want to sleep. I mean, shouldn't I?
Yes.
But it's also a mental.
It's a mental state, so what? The body needs rest, right? So let it rest. But what the mind does is that it exhausts the body when it's meant to be awake. Are you following? So it turns into dullness. This is dullness.
Yeah.
See? And exhausts the body for no rhyme, no reason. Right? It drains all the body energy.
And sometimes I feel that my body is okay, like having no night of sleep. No
Yeah, but
two
the
nights of
the
sleep,
mind
no
creates it.
3 nights of sleep, but the mind will say, "Oh, we need to sleep." we need to
And the
sleep."
mind creates the illusion of tiredness, right?
Oh,
And takes the body doesn't sleep. The body rests. Who sleeps? Who wakes up? I, right? Body doesn't see. Who dreams? I, and who sleeps? I. So this I is the awakened, the dream, and the sleep. Is the awoken, the sleeper, and the dreamer. And it is the dream itself. Whether it is the awakened dream, or the sleeping dream, or the sleepless state, right? Remember, the body doesn't say I, and the self doesn't say I. Something in between arises, right? As I, and then it claims the body for itself.
the body get tired.
Really, the body gets tired. The body doesn't have a problem with being tired, right? But then there is a thought that says, I'm so tired. Oh my God, right? But you are never asleep. Consciousness doesn't sleep or wake up. Consciousness is always consciousness. Who is conscious? The one that is looking at the mirror and the image, or the image? Is the image conscious? Can be. It doesn't even know that it is there. So it is the mirror and the light that illumines them. And if there is darkness, darkness cannot even know that it is there. Therefore, there's nobody that can see consciousness, including consciousness.
I like to watch how my mind trying to understand. It cannot.
If the mind is trying to understand,
It's impossible.
nothing enters. If there is me trying to, if this me is not trying to understand, it's just listening, it finishes. This is why it tries to understand. So nothing gets in, right? It's thinking that is trying to understand, and even is thinking that understood. Yeah, I got it.
No.
Yes, I understood. Listening with a quiet mind leads straight away to a glimpse. That's my experience. And it matches with what has been said before. That's very rare, but it may happen. It generally happen in the so-called drive seekers, or whatever you like to say, minds that are not that busy, minds that are not interested in anything worldly or spiritual. A non-interested attention. It's just attention. When there is attention to this, gone. In the awakening state, gone means loses the sense of separation, right? Where the world, the individual, and I are one and the same. Therefore, I alone am. I alone exist. That's the so-called.
That's why Ramana was saying that there is no others.
Hmm?
Ramana was saying there is no others.
Yes.
Someone asked him what to do with the others. Like, what about the others? There is no others.
And you have good memory.
Unfortunately.
I try to make you become aware of what just happened. It becomes the spiritual chit chat, right? It's not a question even. It is a statement, but it is not a fact for you yet. It's a quote. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? I haven't seen two enlightened beings talking about this. They will be seated quietly. And if they will say something, they say, I'm hungry. Just prepare some food. I would be more interested in that than because even when the sage thinks about it and speak about it, it's for the sake of the ignorant. He doesn't need to think about this what for, right? He doesn't even have to keep on thinking, I am that. For how long will you think? It's like a man thinking, I am a man, I am a man. What's the point? If you know it is a man, right, it remains as a man. If you think it is a monkey, then you may have to think that it is a man. To stop thinking that it is a monkey. See? When the thought, it is a monkey is gone, right? Then I don't have to think anymore. I am a man. Right? Being the self, there's no point to think anymore. I am the self. You remain as the self. You've been always the self. It is even silly to say, I remain as the self when I am not. Well, this is why you say, okay, bugger all this. Bye. Where? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Vayans, right? Coffee shop, Napoleon cake, cappuccino, whatever, right? Ramana will sing, right? He will behave as a seeker, right? Yes,
Who
Ramana Maharaj.
would behave as a seeker?
He would behave as a seeker, right?
Why?
For the sake of the seeker. that's my point. It's different, right? 3 o'clock in the morning, he was already at the kitchen, right? All of you, one bunch of lazy dudes, wake up. Let's go to the kitchen, see, and chop vegetables and cook food for today, right? For the people that comes here, right? Of course, they will get the share, but it was basically, it's called service, unselfish action, right? And then they will repeat mantras. See, they will be the Indian lifestyle monastics in the morning, Vedic chants, right? And Shiva Lingam Puja, right? He may even repeat, he may even correct the Brahmins see, about the correct use of the materials, the order, see, the intonation, the rhythm of the mantra and all that. And go along with that, right? No need for the sage, for the sake of the other, which is, it is himself, right? In the other, in a state of ignorance.
Compassion.
Compassion, call it whatever you like. And they will sing bhajans so later on, right? And the bhajans will have his name and he will sing it, right? Okay. If they can do it, why couldn't I? Right? It doesn't need it. Right? You will read books, right? And they will write notes, even make corrections and pass it on to guys, right? You will sit with the devotees and take, let's say, Dribu Gita, one of the most famous Advaita books, and he will pass the book. See, you read this verse, you read this verse, he will read, right? So the mind of the seeker gets saturated with the knowledge, right? For that mind not to be wandering here and there. It's kind of a meditation in a concept, right? Purifies the mind. See, the mind becomes weaker. The mental curiosity is subdued, right? Minimized, diminished, right? Try to be still, just like that. You won't. Why? Because of the tendencies, right? Preconceived ideas and all that. What about this, right? What about Carlos Castaneda? And they asked him, what do you think about it? Said, there's no one single thought about it. I read that book, but if you don't ask me the question about Carlos Castaneda, I wouldn't even remember that this man existed. Or shamanism or any of that stuff. Are you following? The only memory that wakes up and operates when the ego is gone is 2 + 2 is 4, right, left, tomato, cucumber, knife, table, salad. Right? Hunger is gone. That's it. Until, see, the stomach again demands, right? To be filled. Right?
Caesar,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
I ask a quick question?
Yes.
this week has been really intense, but this one particular situation that happened, somebody got really upset with me about something, and I reacted like immediately. I didn't even have a choice, it just came. But then after the situation was done and I was driving home, I had no thoughts. It was actually so nice. But I wonder, is it because of, like, it was an eruption, like a volcano came, and then I was driving home and I felt nothing. I thought nothing, I felt nothing, I just drove. So is that because there was a big...
No, the action didn't leave apparently any impression, any imprint. You will have to see that tomorrow when you go to the office. There is no impression. If that person action, okay, didn't leave any imprint in your mind and by your thoughts about it, when you see that person again, like nothing had happened. You won't even remember what happened yesterday. But maybe that person, that thought, that reaction left an imprint. And when that person sees you, that feeling will come back, right?
Yeah.
And then and that person may come back to you again. See? Try to feed that thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
To reinforce that thought.
So that's why when you're away from your family for so long and you're like, oh, yay, it's fine. And then you go back and you see them after a certain amount of time, it comes back.
Yeah.
Right.
After my flight to India, okay, our identity will disappear, right? And they were having glimpses of before going back to India. See? On the way back home after 6 months, right? All that came back again.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? Because the ego was, I wouldn't say that there was no what identity, right? But the self as such, as it really is, as the power that it is, right? It didn't reveal by then, right? It was detachment from the world, but not as many people call detachment, which is conflict with it, right?
Right.
And it produces some sort of rejection, right? Real detachment, there is nothing to reject. Actually, in that state, there is neither attachment nor detachment, right? Then, fantastic. I went to Ramana and by itself. Right? Before that, they were thoughtless state, right? What the I thought was there, right? I will find myself not thinking just by the mere physical, the appearance of the physical presence of Baba, for example, right? That I was not thinking, right? So the thought I, meaning by that I body, it was present. It didn't collapse, right? So all that was purifying the mind. Without even knowing it. I was not interested in knowledge. I was interested in him, right? Right? So my thought was in him. When he was there, you don't have to think of him, right? Because he's there, right?
Right.
But the seer still was I, right? So the thought him is gone. The thought I still was present.
Yeah.
couldn't move, couldn't speak. There was no question, see, there was no request, no demand, nothing, right? I will say that even the body will be like paralyzed, maybe the head, right? But the rest of the body was paralyzed. When I went to Ramana, then yes, the body identity is gone, right? Kind of spontaneous samadhi, but it's still a mental state, right? The thought, I am like a space and everything is within me. There was no separation. Fantastic. That's not it. It conduces to, right? The knowledge of that. And for some time, you have kind of a honeymoon from thoughts, but not from me, right? And that was cool, right? Then
Yeah.
visa finishes, right? And on the way there in the plane, again, it begins to happen spontaneously, right? It began, all that happened spontaneously. I didn't do a thing, right? And I was not interested in reading, right? Our practice, nothing. See, you just want to be there with him, close to him, right? Without knowing that I am him. I didn't know that yet, right? He will say, I am God, you too. I know it, you don't. That's the only difference between you and I'm basically here to tell you that everything else is okay, but it is relatively important. What is really important is this, right? Or I am the self, you too. I know it and you don't, right?
You also know it, just forgot it. Sorry.
Spiritual thought. Hold on. Haven't finished yet.
The I hasn't finished.
Exactly. And this is why I was sent to Tiruvannamalai, see, because the obstacle was my attachment to the name and form. See, I cannot get rid of that attachment unless I get rid of the attachment to my own name and form. If I disappear, he also disappears.
Right.
And cleverly, everything just complot. Can I say that? Complot?
Kaput.
Kaput.
Sorry?
Kaput.
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 Well,
Kaput.
everything organized in the way that I went to Tiruvannamalai. Ramana was not there, right? And in front of the statue, bang. Actually, in the boss, see, all that began to happen by itself. I was not interested in more knowledge. I went to India with, I knew everything. That was a problem, right? And on top of that, see, I have my beloved psychic powers and shamanism, and I do this and that. And being there, the interest in that is gone. Actually, it started here and it finishes there. The loss of interest started here and it finishes there. Not even the loss of the knowledge, but the interest in applying it. Memory is there. Memory remains intact. It's collective, right?
Yeah.
It's not yours or mine. When there is an identity with it, or a little bit of it, it becomes me, right? Or mine, right?
Mm.
Then again, go back to Venezuela, and then I was go in and out, see, of body identity. And I said, no, 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 no. This has to go completely, no chance in hell. But I didn't know, right, how to hold that consciously.
Yeah.
Or there's another word that is not consciously, it's deliberately, right? And then in my next trip, then Mr. Ratanlal appeared with the inquiry. And when it was done consciously, right, then bang. The experience of being that which is beyond non-differentiation, right? No what identity, no differentiation between mind and world, right?
Right.
And then what is beyond mind and world, non-differentiation, right? It doesn't know about any of that stuff. See, there is now the differentiation or non-differentiation or duality or not nothing. It doesn't know anything. It simply is, right? Even though the ego came back. It lost identity, the last thought. I realized that. Ooh. That is always self-realized, and it doesn't say so. It is, and it is self-realized. And luckily, this man was there to make me become aware of this fact.
Yeah.
So you are that. Oops. Ouch. But I could see, the spiritual ego will come back. See, the monastic life, right? The so-called simple life, right? The difference does it make if you're in a single room or in a palace, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see the identity with that, right? But I could see it. When you could see it, that's it. Guru's job is done.
Mhm.
That's why I admire, see, these people that by themselves went through all that stuff. My God, they should have a super sharp intellect, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you need somebody that now and then smack you at the back of your head. See.
Definitely.
One
Yeah,
side,
because you get so caught.
then,
Yeah.
boom, something can come out, boom. Whatever it is. So you get over your own enlightenment, self-realization, see. That becomes meaningless, right? Another thought, right? Ignorance, realization. There was never ignorance, right? How can there be realization? So realization means that there is no realization, right?
Right.
The self alone is. And that fact always is. There is an idea that it isn't, right? That idea is what goes, right? So the ignorant goes with the ignorance, right? And then what is the wise? And it's wisdom, right? Ramana said so. There is jnana, but there is no jnani, right? One can say there is wisdom, but no one has it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So this truth reveals itself by itself to itself because no one else is there. And the ego doesn't like to hear that because it wants it for itself. What do you mean? What do you mean I will never get enlightened? It's not a chance. So, what else?
That was perfect.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, the taxi driver will wait for you downstairs. Okay. At 10 o'clock. $3.
Oh, cheap taxi ride.
Yeah, no, so some people are coming to Venezuela for the talks. But it
Where
is,
do they come from?
where you from? From Latvia. Latvia, right?
Wow.
So he's basically Russian. They don't like it. I am ex-Russian. Ex-Soviet.
Yes, that's why I'm in Venezuela.
Hmm?
That's why I am in Venezuela.
Yes, yes.
Gracias.
So Spanish class is working.
Yeah. ¿Cómo estás? We will learn eventually.
Okay. Let me see, there is a Spanish question because time is basically over. ¿Alguna pregunta? Ya se está acabando el tiempo. Una de esas preguntas corticas que decir, no, una pregunta cortica, como la de Ricardo. No, no, corta, corta. De English class. Hoy clase de inglés.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Nice to see. Huh? Well, how will you recognize the driver? Somebody has to introduce you to the driver, right? Yes.
I don't want to go.
Huh?
I don't want to go.
You don't want me to go? It doesn't make any difference. Somebody, how will you find the driver?
I don't find the driver.
How?
How? He stands sitting at the gate.
Okay. Give me 2 minutes. I go with you. No problem. You could have go downstairs with Nasir. Yes.
No, she already went.
Anyway, the glass gate must be locked. I have no choice, bro. And the elevator will make it easy. Very nice of you. I'm a nice guy. No, don't. Need to come.
Because of you.
Huh?
It's not because of you.
It's not because of you. No, then because of what? No, it's no, not me. Bro, there is no one movement of the mind, one trick that is new. Mind has no new tricks. For thousands of years, it's playing the same trick. Mind is never creative. If you check this body properly, you will see in all the wounds. See, all this. There, on that. It's okay. Never mind. Still have another one. 2.5 months. Don't worry, you'll get over it.
Or not.
Or not. Okay. Nos vemos mañana. Okay.